Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Aces Up the Sleeve. I'm Patty, co-hosting the co-managing partner of Pocket Aces Racing, or PAR for the quick reference, Jared Shoemaker. And in this podcast of ours, we're going to shed light on all things Pocket Aces. We're going to talk about the finer points of syndicate ownership. We're going to talk about what you, the fans, the viewers, the listeners, have asked us to talk about. And because we're industry participants, we're going to talk about the industry at large. And so today we're going to be joined by Carlos Morales of the, one more time, Agentes 305 group. Yes, I did it right. And you started it in 2019 to highlight owners, trainers, jockeys, the folks on the backstretch who get up before sunrise and work their butts off every day. And you produce your videos in both English and Spanish. So if it sounds familiar to some of our listeners and viewers, it's like the big brother of what we were wanting to accomplish with Pocket Aces Racing TV. So I, as the producer for a lot of this stuff, I am so excited to talk to you because I have been watching some of your videos since Dave Brown told me about it, and I'm like, this is amazing. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that you agreed to come on and talk to us. So how are you doing today?
First of all, thank you very much, Patty. That couldn't be a better intro. It is such a pleasure to meet you, Jared. As always, a pleasure to connect with you as well. Thank you for your words. Thank you for the feedback. We have been doing this with a lot of effort, a lot of and work, if you may say so. How I'm doing today? Excited. Very much looking forward for next year, already building up on everything, what it's going to look like 2025. We already accomplished 5 years with Agentes 305 or Agents 305, live since the era before COVID. That means November 2019, all the way to where we are right now. So as a survivors ourselves, happy to be here. And as a lovers of the horse racing, we cannot wait for much more to come, hopefully.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. You know, we obviously you'd met Dave at some point earlier in the year, and then we connected when you were in town during the Keeneland meet, and followed you when you were covering the Breeders' Cup, which we'll talk some more about that today. Did some fantastic coverage out in San Diego, and look forward to when we're back. We got the Breeders' Cup back into Kentucky, and hey, maybe we'll follow you around for a day or two, or you can just watch how the experts put these things together. So
More than
just
happy
thrilled
to
to have
do
you.
it.
That'd be
More
great.
than happy to do it. Actually, we can start practicing that for Kentucky Derby week.
No, perfect.
Usually
I'm
for the
in.
Kentucky Derby week, I stay the entire week, so we can
Okay,
definitely
great.
do that.
Well, very good. We will definitely connect during Derby week. So, but
Perfect.
just how did this all get started with you? And is this? And honestly, I don't know this. I should know this, but are you pretty much a one? Is this you're the one person? This is your deal, 100%. Do you have some partners? Is there a group of you that are doing this, or is this your baby?
It is my baby indeed. This is I'm not a one man show. Thankfully, I started as a one man show. I have a group of people that helps me with production, with camera
Gotcha.
assistant, depending, and photograph, depending on big coverage, if you may say so. But yeah, it's my baby. I have been growing this baby from day one all the way to where we are, where it is right now, where we are right now. Started as an let's move backwards.
Mhm.
My family has been in the industry, in the horse racing industry forever. I'm originally from Venezuela. My grandfather used to be a breeder, but also a trainer. My uncle used to be a horse race trainer. Now he's a pin hooker in Ocala, and but he used to be also a horse race trainer. Yeah, and he shares the same name as myself, like Carlos Morales.
Okay.
He trained the famous at the time Yankee Victor, winner of the Med Mile at the time. He was a trainer. So basically, the passion for horse racing has been in my blood since day one when I started having the exposure when I was a little child. When I get out of high school, obviously my idea was to get into horse racing as a trainer. In one way or another, that didn't happen, obviously, but I encountered myself with media itself. I studied advertising. That was kind of a requirement at my home. My mom, if you want to stay here, you need to have a title. So I became an bachelor in advertising. So I combined that with my passion with horse racing. And when I was 18 years old, I used to have a radio shows for handicapping the races back in Venezuela.
Wow.
So it started with AM, then after FM, and I have my weekly radio show talking about that. In the 2000s, I started at the time when internet was actually starting to be a thing. Yahoo used to have these things called Yahoo groups, where people actually create their own groups and share same topics of discussion. At that time, I created my own that it was called Palco Hípico, which it will be like horse racing stage, if you may say so in English. And it was to talk about not just horse racing in Venezuela, but also worldwide. That was like my first approach to the worldwide approach, if you may say so. Cigar was one of my biggest horses at the time. It still is, to be honest. I when I had the chance to meet and interview Bill Mott, that was the first thing that I
Nice.
told him. Like, I grew up with Cigar of my favorite horse, and he was like very pleased. You can see the smile and the shining that comes to his face when anyone refers to Cigar. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think you get that talking to just about any fan of racing. When you mention Cigar, people kind of light up because he was definitely a special horse.
He was indeed. And then it just everything progressed in one way or another to stay the same course. I moved to the US 14 years ago. Keep my passion and stay very close from a communicator point of view about horse racing, all the way to, but also having other radio shows like I used to have one that it was called in Spanish cualquier cosa, which means like talking about anything else, like it was inspired by Seinfeld, like you're talking about nothing. That
Right.
was a show, kind of like we were talking about nothing, but it was fun. And I decided myself, like, let's see how we can do more about that exploration of the horse racing part. Agente 305 started as a sports, not just horse racing. But then afterwards, it just moved organically to become what it is right now, 100% horse racing, talking not just with the trainers and the jockeys, but also with the backside, with the grooms, with the exercise riders, with the hog walkers, and everyone that is involved in the business, owners, breeders. Because at the end of the day, this industry is not just one. It evolved around one big component, the horses. But everyone else is actually responsible for this to continue growing or continue going backwards. So that's kind of my idea. As I originally was 100% in Spanish, and as I was evolving again, I found this niche that at the time nobody was taking care of. Is like the actual and natural audience of horse racing here in US is not just Spanish, it's English. But how can I combine both so I can have a bigger approach and bigger reach on the message that I'm trying to transmit of everyone that is involved in racing? That's the reason why I started like doing it in Spanish and in English and combining the subtitles and all that. And while the technology evolves, that it will continue evolving as well.
So talk a little bit about that transition where moving from not from Spanish only to English. English as well. How has that impacted your process or what you're doing? Because I mean, that just to me that feels like it's doubling the amount of work that you're doing. But I'm sure that's not the case. But maybe I don't know. Maybe it is. But that had to be quite a transition.
It does. It does. Funny enough, actually, or interesting enough, my first interview ever as a Gente 305 was to Bob Buffer. In other words, was in English. And
Okay.
afterwards, I needed to add English subtitles. The caveat there is that at the time that I did that, many years ago, the technology that was available at the time was very manual. So yeah, you were right. At the time, adding subtitles in Spanish, it could take you 3, 4, 5 hours for a half-hour program because you need to go backward. You need to check out what the audio. You need to check. You need to sync that what the people is saying is translating the same at the same time that the people is saying it. So it had some technical definitions and difficulties and challenges at the time that were complicated enough. And at that time also the technology, so you have the cell phone, but you have the laptop. How do you sync this? The platform that you use to record those interviews, it had to actually be able to sync the way how you want it and you expect it to be. So it has been a process. Thankfully, right now there's apps that helps me do the translations and do the add the closed caption in English, in Spanish, even in Japanese, in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that has expedited a lot of the way how it used to be, but it seems to be easy. It is not, but
Okay.
it's a passion, to be honest. It's a challenge that I love to do.
So you were awarded the Bill Handelman Award for outstanding coverage of the 2023 Haskell. Quite an honor. Talk to us a little bit about that recognition and how that kind of elevates what you're doing and helps get your your channel and your message and your just all that you're doing. How has that impacted that?
Well, first of all, I wasn't expecting that so many people reach out to me afterward to say like, but did you apply for that? So does anyone apply for that? No, Momo Park actually award that without any application. They do evaluations and they detect who will be the receiver or the recipient of that award. To me, came as a surprise, a very pleasant surprise. Obviously, it grants me with a lot of like reward in the sense of like, yes, what I'm doing, it's doing it. I'm doing it in the right path and with the right approach. But it gave me also the responsibility that I had to keep it the same way or improve even more. And that's what I'm putting myself. It's like I do appreciate it so much. To me, it's still like hard to believe, but very much appreciative of that award. But that gave me the responsibility now that I had to do even not just stick to what I have been doing, but always trying to find ways to continue improving what I'm doing,
Sure.
to being able to deliver the best information from everyone that is involved in the business from with an objective point of view, which is very challenging in this business, and and being remain respectful of everyone and in the message that everyone wants to send the same way.
Well, recognition is definitely, I think, a double-edged sword sometimes. Like, it gives you that confidence and it gives you that self-assurance that whatever you're doing is clearly resonating with people. But on the other hand, it absolutely discourages complacency. Like, you always have to think ahead now. You always have to as you said, you have to plan, how am I going to step up and improve on this success next year? And so it's definitely, it's one of those things where you love getting that recognition, but on the other hand, I think a lot of people realize that this means there is no resting on my laurels.
100%, 100%. And another variable before I forget about it is that the fact that as we were talking before, I started doing my work in Spanish. I do then I do the transition to bilingual, if you may say so, using both languages in the pure concept of what they are, and being recognized with that award from an English spoken platform to a bilingual platform, that itself is a recognition that it takes you to that level that you're seeing. Yes, I'm on the right direction with what I'm doing already.
Mhm. So you try to interview a really broad spectrum of people in the industry. Um, what are some of the more rewarding conversations or the more interesting conversations that you've had? Because I can imagine that what we see on television all the time. It's the Todd Pletchers and the Bob Bafferts, and it's the biggest names in the industry, and the biggest owners in the industry, and the biggest riders in the industry. But talk to us about some of your experiences with the people that we don't see on television,
Hmm.
whether they're small time trainers that are just they got a few horses and they're just trying to make it day to day almost, or the grooms, or just some of the people that we don't see on television all the time. Who are some folks that have stood out to you that you talked to over the years?
A lot, a lot. My biggest recognition to the grooms, a person that is committed to be every single day, waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to be at the barn at four in the morning. If you're late already, all the way to midday, just to take care of his horses or her horses, and make the most out of it, and taking care of what they, because I call them like they are their babies.
Mhm.
Is that level of connection, that level of complexity, and a commitment for me. It's unbelievable, and it's commendable 100%. So many. Obviously, from a personal point of view, like my different connections and interviews with Moises, the groom of Mage last year, they were very rewarding. That possibility of being able to connect with them, but also the Venezuelan connections behind Mage, from the training point of view, from a jockey point of view, and even the owners. That gave me a lot of reward. He was learning about his struggles, how he gets what he got with the horse. The two different grooms that had been taking care of Torpedo Anna this year. There was one in Churchill Downs, but at the moment that she moved to Saratoga, there's Lopez that has been taking care of Jose Lopez. That he has been taking care of her since then, all the way to where she is right now. And the connection, how proud they are. That to me, it's very interesting. There's one of the assistant trainers of Brad Cox. He's a very hard work person. He always is there. He's like washing the horses. He's making sure that the bets are done the way how it should be, no matter where they are. A good Venezuelan friend of mine, that he used to be a jockey in Venezuela, champion jockey. Now he's an assistant trainer of Michelle Lovell. He is like taking care of every horse every single morning as an exercise rider, but also as an assistant trainer. Right now in the fairgrounds, but their base is out of Louisville when it's season. When you learn about their challenges, about how they started from Geico, like some of the grooms, that a lot of grooms here in the U.S. Are not just from Venezuela or Mexico. There are a lot of from Guatemala, and they pay so much care about horses. One of the one that it was close and it was really interesting to me. It's the groom of Sierra Leone, the recent winner of the Beers Cup
Mhm.
Classic. Just because he actually comes from a long line of family members, including his father, that take care of horses. So, because I encountered myself with stories that people that move from Central America, Mexico, or South America, sorry, to US, and they this is the job that I found, and I fall in love in the process. But this specifically, Leonel, he basically loved what he's doing, and he inherit that love from his father, that he does
Wow.
exactly the same in his native Guatemala. So he had so many options that he can give it a try. He preferred to stay with the horses, and the same thing. It's they are my babies. They are the reason why I'm here, and the way how he's like the messages that they share, like don't rest up, don't lose faith. Your champion is right around the corner. Just treat the horse as a winner. Treat them well, treat them fairly, treat them the way how they should be, and they will reward you. That kind of message, it tells you so much of the core what is the horse racing business and the way how it should be, to my opinion.
Mhm.
But that's a separate conversation. But when we talk about interviews with all the different grooms, and there's always, like, obviously these are not people that are used to be in front of the camera, so
Right.
these interviews are not always as easy. So you need to get them relaxed. You need to even tell them jokes, like trying to feel. And afterwards, you have marvelous moments or minutes of very sincere comments that they're going to share with you of their amazing careers as a grooms, as a caretakers, and even the exercise riders as well. So
Mhm.
those are very rewarding to me, definitely, as well as obviously, as you mentioned, Jared, like all the different trainers, all the big names, like trainers, jockeys, even owners. But definitely, they are the one of the core in this business.
Yeah, I mean the grooms are so well. It's hard to say that any one job is more important than the other because
Hmm.
it's a chain, and the weakest link is where you have that's where the problems occur. So you have so the most successful horses and the most successful trainers, they've got a group of people behind them that the grooms, the exercise riders,
Hmm.
the vets, the vet techs. I mean, the list goes on, and they're all so important to the success of any horse. And you're right about the grooms. I mean, they love their horses. They're their
Hmm.
babies. And I mean, I've seen grooms in tears when a horse that they've cared for a long time gets claimed away, or
Yeah.
something like that happens, and because it becomes their, like you said, it's their baby, and it's their horse, and they love
Hmm.
them, and so they're an underappreciated piece an unappreciated link in the chain that gets the most out of, that helps the trainers get the most out of the horses,
Yeah.
underappreciated by the public. I don't There's no trainer anywhere that's going to underappreciate the grooms because they know how hard those folks work.
Well, and
So.
one thing I've noticed too that maybe some of our viewers and our listeners who aren't, you know, extensively on social media like I am as the social media person for Pocket Aces Racing, but one thing that I notice pretty consistently when they get posted and people talk about these things is how many of these grooms, like when their horses are retired and they go off to stallion careers or broodmare careers, how many of them go back and visit as often as they can. And you see like these joyful reunions and they're so happy and they're so excited to see these, these babies running around for this horse that they've groomed, for its entire life, almost from the time it well, was two, and then whenever it retired from the track. It's just it's so incredible to see them go out there and like their whole expression lights up, and it's almost like for that brief moment they kind of forgot that the horse is retired now, and it's that same expression when they went in there every morning and that horse had its head out the stall and screaming for them because it was thrilled to see them that morning.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah. You just remind me. The person that I'm mentioning from the Blackhawks team. Every time that I asked him, and one of the first interviews that I did to him, because he used to take care of essential quality,
Hmm.
but prior to that, he used to take care of monomoy girl.
Oh.
And that subject of monomoy girl, it takes him out of tears because it's that connection. It's that he has gone to the farm to visit her, and she always recognized him because
Mhm.
obviously horses are extremely smart, and she recognized him every time that he goes to pay a visit to monomoy girl. It's the same with the groom of fierceness. He used to be the groom of Malata, and he goes to visit Malata, and it's the same reaction. There is a real connection that stays longer than the racing career of the horses. And the significance of this connection, you can see it in both sides of the story.
Mhm.
And these grooms and these assistant trainers can relate to that 100%. And that's the majority, I dare to say, uh, because it's not how champion is my horse. Even a claimer, as you mentioned, Jared, like it could be a claimer that have won
Yeah.
seven or even five races, but he got claimed to another barn. That feels like a piece of your heart is ripped
Yeah.
out and taken somewhere else, and you're not able to take care of that horse anymore. So,
Yeah. So, Patty, we're going to have to find us a good translator for the Hispanic grooms that are taking care of horses. But I want to steal
Yep.
Carlos's idea here, and I want us to get some interviews with all the grooms taking care of all of our horses because I
mhm.
think that they need a little love and a little spotlight. And I think our partners would love knowing who's taking care of their horses day in, day out. So let's put this down. Mark this down in your calendar or in your notebook, because I really want to make this happen because I think it's just fantastic. So I don't know how quickly we'll make it happen. Maybe we start at some of the farms or local, and but I would
If you
love
want to
to.
pay to send me to Florida, I will not object.
We'll discuss that as we move forward. But let's start local first. But I just think
And
it's great. It's a spotlight. Um,
yeah.
and when we've had a lot of folks on the show that probably wouldn't normally be in the spotlight, but not any grooms yet. And I think some 5 minute videos, 10 minute videos of the folks taking care of our horses would be
Hmm.
fantastic. So
That would be great. That would be great. And please let me know any way that I can help. More than happy to do it.
yeah, fantastic. I appreciate it.
Hmm.
I appreciate
Of
it.
course.
So now most of your interviews you are conducting now in Spanish and translating to English, or most of them you're now conducting in English and translating to Spanish, or it's just a mix.
It is a mix. Everything depends. The, what what are who are the top uh, players, if you
Right.
may say so, for each of the different races that I'm covering, no matter if it is in English or Spanish. Like since I try to do always, like, let's say that I'm covering the Breeders' Cup and there's 14 different races, but I'm gonna focus on the day one on Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and day two the Turf and the Classic. Let's put that as an example. I will try to do the interviews with the key jockeys, either it's in Spanish or in English, to talk about their expectations with the horses, but also with the trainers. Same thing. If it is a Brad Cox, a Bob Buffer, a Top Pleasure, a Musen, or Bill Mott, I will do the interview in English. And if it is Jorge Delgado, Gustavo Delgado, exactly
Right.
the same. I'm gonna do the interview in Spanish, and then I'm gonna add the subtitles in English. So it varies depending on and at the end also after the race, whoever is the winner, that will
Hmm.
dictate the
Sure.
language that I'm gonna do
Right.
the interview.
So is there anybody else that's doing this like that you're what you're doing?
With this bilingual approach, no,
That's
and
awesome.
and it's still and the only one so far.
Very good. That is fantastic. So you and I've talked a little bit about social media. I know you do a lot of social media stuff. So just kind of where do you see the? I mean, obviously social media pervades everything these days, but just kind of talked about the progression and of social media in the thoroughbred industry and how it's grown, how important it is now. Where do you see it going?
Social media is a challenge itself. What evolved to what it started as a common ground for sharing ideas, no matter where is the what's the platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the new blue sky, and all of the above. What started as a point of encounter to sharing ideas now has become, in some capacity and in some cases, a point of encounter to fight ideas and to I don't know. I think, like, there's some platforms like Twitter that has derailed a little bit of what it should be when we talk about, like, keeping the positive for horse racing. I think, like, there's a lot of fights about who's the leader on what, or who talks the worst about whom. That's not the way how it should be. I think, like, we have enough problems in the day to day that we're living everywhere else and everywhere else, that we don't need to bring that negativity in any capacity, or that into our business. The division, and I can tell from the Venezuelan experience. Uh, when you create division, sometimes that division may be irreversible. So we need to be very cautious on that piece. One element is that I may not have the same point of view like you may have. That doesn't mean that you're my enemy or you're against me. It's that just like we have different point of view about the same topic. We can agree to disagree, or we can try to find a common ground and meeting halfway to see what it will be the best solution for the the entire business,
Right.
but not fight and fight and fight. And I believe, like in the last 3 years, Twitter has become like a Roman Coliseum of horse racing ideas,
Yeah.
Right.
and but interesting enough is also the platform that have the most horse racing
Mm-hmm.
content.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge there.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
You can get away for it. Yeah. You can't. I just created a couple of days ago the Blue Sky account, and that's growing, but it's still in baby mode. That platform so far. I told my wife, now there's a Blue Sky platform. I said, like, how many platforms do we actually need? No, it
Yeah.
seems like as many as is possible in any capacity. But Instagram, it has been helpful in order to promote more visual and content, and that has been positive to my opinion. Facebook is just a platform to encounter ourselves and share with family, with friends, with members, all that. So each platform it's playing a different role. If we are able to make the platforms like Twitter content aligned into a one single line of positivity for the good, for the greater good of the industry, I think it will help to continue evolving this industry itself. It's like if you continue saying the bad things about what's going on in one side of the court and the other one, we will continue staying exactly where we are because we're not moving forward. We're talking exactly the same every single day without any, okay, so we agree that this is happening, let's move, let's do this, let's do that. And the role of the social media is very interesting.
Well,
In few words.
and I think it's become kind of what you said earlier was very true. I think some people in the beginning just it was just a place where they can come and be contrarians. And it was
Mm-hmm.
a place where they can agree to disagree. But then it's kind of started to snowball and people forgot to put brakes on the snowball, and now we're kind of in a place where you can say the color green. I like green, and then people will say, "Well, why do you like green?" And and it spirals into an argument. Like it's so touchy sometimes. And I agree. I would like to see social media kind of return to what it was intended to be, where it was intended to be like an outreach thing. Like you're supposed to meet new people and you're supposed to see different experiences, from around the world, and see how people, operate and their belief systems and how they think and how it's different, because that's how the world moves. Because if we're all in our own little bubble, nothing ever changes. It's like if everybody's in their own room and they're all screaming at a wall, they're never going to work together because they're in their own room. They never opened the door and they never went into the hall. So, and I see it a lot on our social medias too. There's been a few instances where I've had to block people that were just going absolute crazy on some of our
Yeah.
posts, and it's unfortunate that we've gotten there, but sometimes it's like you're not really given a choice.
Yep.
Yeah, you're getting away of the original concept of it is social media.
Mm,
Right.
So that means to be social,
yeah,
and we are lost in that action. That's the difference between theory and practice.
yeah,
In
That's right.
theory, it should be
That's right.
social.
yeah,
In practice, it is the Roman Coliseum.
yeah.
So you mentioned earlier Cigar was your favorite horse when you were younger and really impacted you and just makes you smile to this day. So who are some of the horses that you have been covering since you started this in the last 5 years or so that really stand out to you and that have really um, maybe you've done some stories on them or some interviews with the people associated with them, and it's there's some that have really stood out to you and maybe stood out especially to your fans or to your readers and viewers and all that. And I guess viewers, not so much readers, but viewers and just some of the bigger names and horses that have jumped out at you.
Essential Quality, it's one of those.
Okay.
That horse have a very. I'm very close to that horse, to be completely honest. I have even very funny pictures with the horse and the microphone, trying to do an interview to the horse, and he used to be so playful. He was like, yeah, he put up some faces and all that. He was so nice to be around. So the Essential Quality, that will be that one. Letruska from Fausto
Oh, I
Gutierrez,
love
the champion
Latruska.
Letruska. Yeah, she was a true champion, and I was able to cover all her growth and success throughout the years here in US. That was very rewarding to me. This is gonna be like, but why that horse? But Medina Spirit was one of those horses, to be
Okay.
completely honest. I was there when he won the Derby, when he won, and afterward he's not the winner anymore, but he passed by at the time. But the experience around that horse afterwards, I saw that horse in the Briscoe Classic. He ran beautifully behind Nitsko and that race in Del Mar. Nixgo itself also, but not as close as Essential Quality, as Medina Spirit, as Letruska, and more recently, obviously, Mage, for all the reasons
Mhm.
that you may guess. And this year, definitely Torpedo Anna, beyond the all the fans around. It's just so, how interesting is this filly, how smart she is, but also the connection that she have with the groom, with Lopez, but also with Kenny McPeak, with
Yep.
Dane Ramsey, with everyone in the barn. That connection, and being able to cover. I've been since the Kentucky Oaks, in every race that she have run. I have been there, and being able to actually see her growing and getting to the point where she is right now, it has been very rewarding to me as well, and an example to follow, to be honest.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. So, what are your favorite tracks to cover?
That's a really good question. Here in US, Saratoga, Kineland, Churchill Down. That's the temple of horse racing in some capacity. Um, there's a lot of racetrack that I still have pending to be like to cover a lot. Del Mar, I like Del Mar, to be honest.
Yeah.
When we talk about the West Coast, it's very nice, beautiful. The way how it's structured, small if you compare with others racetrack, but it's nice, petite, and cozy, if you may say so. But those will be the ones, and I like Tampa Bay Downs. It's the same
Okay.
concept. It's a small. You get to Tampa Bay Downs, and it is not this big fancy racetrack, but it's like you're going to your neighborhood racetrack just to have fun.
All right.
Everyone is laid back. The horsemen are laid back. Like there's this sense of like enjoyment of the moment and the horse racing industry and sport in a very good and very nice way. So those will be
Mhm.
my options right now. I still have a
Okay.
lot pending to be. I have been wanting to be at Ellis Park, at Torquay Park. I haven't been able yet to be there, to be in Aqueduct, for example. I've been in
Yeah.
Belmont, the old Belmont,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and so, but I never so far haven't been able to be at Aqueduct. So let's see.
There's never been much reason to go to Turfway until this last year, but they've done an absolutely fantastic job
Yeah.
on the renovations up there. It's like a new place. It's just
Oh
and
wow.
it was when it was years ago. I get what was it, Latonia? That is that what
I
I think
think
that's what it was.
I think so. Like
It was
Latonia
nice. It
Downs or
was
something
nice
like
at one
that.
time, and it had just really, it really suffered when before the
Hmm.
historical racing was approved. It had really gone downhill, and my goodness, I remember I remember sending horses up there running a maiden 30 for a $10,000 purse in a maiden
Oh
30.
wow.
So it's definitely had hit rock bottom, and they've done a fantastic job of revitalizing that track and the grandstand and just everything around it. Um, I did one track that I just blew me away when I went there for the first time, and it was our very first race. It was Charlestown, West Virginia.
Oh,
I
really?
really thought that I had no idea what to expect. I thought it was going to be
Hmm.
uh, a bit of a disaster. I think I love that little track. I think it's great. It's just there's nothing fancy about it, but
Hmm.
they got plenty of fans every time I've been there. It's clean, it's nice, it's just everybody's welcoming, and it's a neat little track. But
That
Oh,
kind of
that's really nice.
reminds me of my experience with Hollywood Park. I think I went like the year before they closed it permanently, and it's so funny because like my family still tells the story. I was horrendously disappointed at Hollywood because I was just like, this is nothing what I was led to believe. What is this? And then we got to Hollywood Park, and she's like, if we had to like drag you away kicking and screaming, like you did not want to leave. And
yeah,
it's like, and I think Blind Luck ran in something
Hmm.
that year because I have like little baby photographer Patty's over here taking her first pictures as a photographer, and I've got those shots somewhere. I'm gonna raid this computer later because I want to go find them. Um, and I've got these shots of Blind Luck as she's racing there. I don't remember 100% which race it was for, but um, it was amazing. Like my impressions of Hollywood Park was just, and maybe it's a little rose colored because I had always heard about it through watching Zenyatta racing, and that was something I really wanted to
Hmm.
go to because like that was her home track, and
Of
I
course.
I really wanted to see that, and so it's a little rosy for me, but I was like I think my greatest interest out of that whole track was the flamingos in the lake in the middle.
I don't know if I would put Charlestown quite on the same level of what Hollywood Park was right before it closed, but it's a nice little track. It's like Belterra Park, which I think is a great small little track.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's always got the grandstands are full anytime you go there, and it's the grandstand is really small, but but anyway. Now the backside of Belterra Park, if anybody ever happens to be watching them, that's got any say so and all that, fix it up. It's a disaster. But the track itself and the grandstand's pretty nice. But anyway, so we've been dragging on here. We're about 45 minutes in because we're always 15 minutes or so over our 30-minute goal. The question that we always ask everybody, I love all the different answers that we get for this. Because everybody's got criticisms of racing, some rightful, some not so much. But if you're king for a day of North American racing, what is one change that you would make to improve our sport, improve our industry, improve the perception of the industry? What's one big change that you would make to North American racing?
I will create a board with equal representation of everyone that is involved in horse racing, from grooms to owners to trainers to jockeys to herders of riders, to have a clear understanding of what's going on and trying to be the leaders that we don't have. Because sadly, everyone is pulling to their own interests, but not to the common interest. That will be my rule for the day as the king of horse racing in North America. Let's
I
create a
like it.
board with that equal representation of everyone to come to an agreement on what needs to be done, and let's just do it.
Seems like it ought to be pretty simple, but you're right. Everybody's kind of in their own silos, and it's always about what their interest in what's best for them. And I
Hmm.
think they tend to be very short sighted on what's best for the industry as a whole. So I like it.
Correct.
Yeah, I like it. Well,
Thank you.
Carlos, thank you so much for joining us today. I sincerely appreciate it, and we'll have you can get the link to his site below in the description
Description.
of the video.
Yep.
Thank you, and hopefully we can get you some new viewers. And just really appreciate all you're doing for the sport, and look forward to when you make it back to Kentucky. And if you're going to be up at the Palm Meadows anytime, or Gulfstream, let me know. We got some horses down there with Brendan right now, so uh, maybe you can
I
stop by
will.
and check them out.
Yeah, yeah, I will. I will do it for sure, and I'm pretty sure on December I'm going to be passing over there, so I'll
Okay,
keep you posted for sure.
sounds
And
great.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patty, Jared, for the invitation. It has been a pleasure. Such a nice conversation with two of you. And happy to be here. And everyone, thank you. And I hope that what you heard or view in this interview actually it gave you that passion and that motivates you to keep that passion for horse racing growing.
Yep. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you everybody who tunes in every single week, our watchers and our viewers. We appreciate everybody's support. Speaking of, make sure that you're subscribed to any of the channels that you can find the podcast on, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Threads. We're under Pocket Aces Racing.
We need to get on Blue Skies now, right?
We need to be on Blue Skies now.
We
We
got to
Yeah.
need
get on
to
Blue Skies now. I'm
everywhere.
on there personally,
Yeah.
and I've got an account, but I haven't done anything yet other than follow a few people. But we got to get Pocket Aces on the Blue Skies.
All right.
We got to cover them
Yeah.
all.
Just blast everybody. Pocket Aces
right.
everywhere.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming, and then of course, Carlos, people can follow Agentes 305 also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff as well, I'm assuming.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads,
Woo!
although I don't-
Everywhere.
Do we need a TikTok?
everywhere.
We gotta get a
And
TikTok.
in
You
YouTube.
you can do a TikTok. I don't like TikTok.
I don't know anything about Patty. I can't work Instagram.
I don't have. Okay, you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out TikTok later.
Sorry to interrupt your.
So we'll
closing.
have a.
No problem at all.
We'll-
No problem at all.
We'll have
And it will-
pending list. List is pending. When you see it, just follow us. It's fine. It just doesn't matter where we are anymore. Make sure that you are also subscribed to this YouTube channel. It is Pocket Aces Racing. Hit the bell so you get those notifications when the videos go live. And as I tell everybody every Wednesday, and at this point every day, have a happy Wednesday. Have a good Thursday whenever you see this. Make good choices. And the podcast is out.